everybody, welcome to this video. So today we are going to be baking. I have had a lot of time on my hands with this whole social distancing, lockdown, quarantine thing going on, and I have been looking at some really interesting recipes, and I found one that I wanted to share with you. I have never made this before, so I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I found some really cool Depression era recipes that I wanted to try, and the first one is called water pie. Now, I don't know if you know what water pie is, but it is a recipe from the 1930s Depression era that people kind of threw together, honestly. Probably some little grandma put this recipe together. You'll have to excuse, I have a baby over here. She's my sous chef for the day. But some little grandma probably put this recipe together to make pie for her family for dinner one night, and it is the easiest recipe ever, it seems like. I'm sure it's probably not quite as easy as it seems, and I've never really been the best pie maker, but we're gonna give it a shot. So let's go. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a convection setting, I recommend using it. These are all of the ingredients you're going to need for this pie. You're going to need butter, flour, vanilla extract, water, pie crust, and white sugar. I'm using a frozen pie crust from Kroger, and you're going to also need a pie dish as well. This is a 9-inch glass Pyrex pie dish. Alright, so here is our setup. So we have our butter, our water, I've got a thing of sugar right here, we have our vanilla extract that I just dropped, sorry, and we have our flour. I'm using these pie crusts right here. They are Kroger brand pie crusts. Where's the brand? There it is. Kroger brand frozen 9-inch pie crust. So this is what I'm going to be using. I'm not going to be making a homemade pie crust because I've never made this recipe before, and I don't want to waste a good homemade pie crust on something if it's not going to be good. So here we go. So first and foremost, I'm going to be taking our flour, and I'm going to open it up and put 4 tablespoons of flour.
1, 2, 3, and 4 into this bowl, just like that. And put it down.
Next, we are going to add our sugar to the flour bowl. We add 1 cup of sugar. So here's our sugar jar, and our sugar scoop is actually a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to put 2 of these in here. 1 and 2, just like that. Okay, now that the flour and the sugar and this bowl, we're going to whisk it together. All right, until it is well combined like so. Again, I apologize if you hear a baby in the background. She wants to be helpful. Okay, so here is our glass Pyrex 9-inch pie dish. So I'm going to take this pie crust, I hope it's thawed enough, and take it out of here. And I'm just going to unroll it at this little, I know I tore it a little bit trying to unroll it before it was thawed out enough. And I'm just gonna unroll it and put it in this dish. Okay, so now that my pie crust is in my pie dish, the first thing you do is pour in 1.5 cups of water.
So here is 1 cup. And here is the 1/2 cup that is kind of spilled a little bit.
All right, so now that you have your water in here, we are going to add our flour sugar mix. And I'm just going to take my tablespoon, and you just sprinkle it over the top as evenly as you can until you have the entire mixture of flour and sugar in the water, in the pie crust. I know this probably sounds a little bit weird, but you know what? People back then were real smart and came up with some really interesting stuff. And like I said, somebody's grandma probably came up with this recipe. So it's probably gonna be delicious. I've heard it tastes like a sugar cookie, so we shall see. We have a lot of time between now and when we can taste it though. So when you get all of this in there, you do not mix it. You just kind of let it sit on the surface and sink down on its own. But you don't mix it. Okay, so now that our flour sugar mixture is in there, we are going to take our vanilla, and it calls for a teaspoon of vanilla, but I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I always do that with vanilla. And you just want to drizzle it over the top. I like a little bit more vanilla than most recipes call for, so I'm just gonna add my own. I use this Baker's Imitation Vanilla. All right, and the very last step that we're gonna do is put the butter on, and you literally just drop it on the top. Okay, so this is what your pie should look like before you put it in the oven. I'm just gonna kind of wrap my edges a little bit better here. Just kind of get them around the shell so that they will stick. All right, are going to put this very, very carefully in the oven. It's very, very liquidy, very watery. All right, and we're gonna close it up. And there it is in there. We're gonna set our timer for 30 minutes. And then we shall see where we're at in 30 minutes. All right, we'll be back. Okay, so this is what the pie looks like after the first 30 minutes. It is still very, very liquidy, as you can see. It's going to be very liquidy for a while, and it's going to be very, very bubbly like this as well. This is normal. As you can see, my edges are already starting to get dark, so we're going to take some tin foil and wrap the edges. All right, the edges are wrapped to the best of my ability. Now we are going to change the temperature from 400 to 375. It's already preheated because it was already on, and we bake it for another 30 minutes. So I'll be back in 30 minutes. All right, this is our finished water pie. As you can tell, somebody has already helped themselves to a piece, but that's okay. Now you can just see what the middle looks like. After that 30 minutes, it sat out on the counter and cooled, and this is what we are left with. I know my edges are burnt, but whatever. I'm not very good at baking pies. It's never been my thing. So I hope you try this for yourself because this is definitely so delicious. I'll definitely be making this again. It's too easy to not make again, but I definitely recommend this recipe. It just is stupid easy, and it's absolutely delicious. It really does taste like a sugar cookie. I think this would be really good with like some fruit or maybe even some chocolate sauce drizzled over it. All right, it's the next day, and there is only 2 pieces of the water pie left. It was such a hit, and everybody loved it. It was so good and so easy to make. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video and this kind of content. I have at least one other Depression era recipe that I want to try for y'all. So let me know if you're interested in that. I think this is super fun, and I think that these kinds of recipes, Depression era, really simple staple item recipes, are really, really good for everybody. They're so easy to make, and everybody always has the ingredients for it. So please let me know if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like this video and leave me a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!